Per AI, the fifth element for a defamation case is damage.
Are you citing AI?
Why are you somebody who graduated law school? Why are you go to Westlaw and read? Why are you giving me an AI answer?
Because Steve, you told me I was wrong.
You are wrong.
You the damage
so defamation per se. Defamation per se. Do you know what defamation per se is?
I don't offhand. It's not in the area of law practice.
Then why the f are you talking? Why are you citing AI?
Well, he told me that damage wasn't an element for defamation.
It doesn't have to be, not necessarily.
It was a quick way to tell Stephen he's wrong.
Don't cite AI. You're making our industry look bad. All right. It was an excellent meme. All right. I see truth over chaos. I've gone through such lengths to get you unbanned from Destiny, to get you in the space, to figure out your tech issues. All you need to do is request speakership. We're moving on from the VA stuff, and we're talking about corruption, justice, that kind of thing. You're the one saying no lefty ever wants to debate you on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. So please, for the love of God, request to speak, and we'll let you speak, finally. In the meantime, Josiah, how are you?
Doing well, buddy. How are you guys?
Not good.
Not good?
I've missed the past 2 hours, so did something happen while I was gone that made you not good, Stephen?
No, you're basically the same shit I talked to you this morning about. That makes me feel not good.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, we have him. I think this is truth over chaos. Now, truth over chaos. You are a trial attorney assessing evidence, motive, and truth, fighting propaganda that divides, corrupts, and confuses. They got Spielberg. We got truth. Follow for it. That's your Twitter description. And today we're talking about Trump and Harris, and specifically kind of, and hopefully the intersection of corruption, of justice problems, and of censorship, and how they relate to the choice for president. So if you could tailor your remarks to those issues, or really anything you want to talk about, just go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. Thanks for having me. And Destiny, thanks for unblocking me. I'm coming in kind of late, so I don't know what you guys are covering. But my main concern is that the left seems to be advancing policies based in Marxism. And I don't understand the lack of concern. I think that there's so much hatred for Trump.
Okay, wait, real quick. How are we defining Marxism?
So, I take DEI as the best example.
Wait, I'm not asking for an example.
Marxism?
I'm saying give me an example. Not give me an example. What is your definition of Marxism?
So, I don't think that that's a fair question. Marxism has
what do you
Hold
mean
on,
when you use the term
I'm so sorry.
Marxism?
You said where did you graduate law school from?
Stetson University College of Law.
Okay, it's not fair to ask for a definition of what you're accusing a side of pursuing?
Well, this is a space where I believe you want to move things along, right?
No, I don't. We don't want to move things along. We want to know what we're actually saying. What are you're saying, because your chief contention right now is that they're advancing Marxism. So we're curious, what is your definition of Marxism?
What do you mean
Because
by
if
that?
you mean by Marxism, you mean they're trying to expand government benefits, we'll all say oh yeah, they are trying to do that. We just wouldn't call that Marxism. So we're not going to waste time debating it.
So a concise definition for my concern in this situation is putting identity as a consideration over merit.
That's Marxism. Identity over merit is your definition.
In this situation, obviously that's not a full definition of Marxism, but you asked for what.
Okay, so when you say Marxism, you mean identity over merit. Cool, Stephen?
Yes.
He gave you a definition.
That's part of it. And then there's also the part where you're breaking into groups and you're blaming other people for problems. It's the opposite of taking personal.
So identity politics, right? Would you say
not
it was
exactly
Marxism?
Identity politics? It's literally saying that certain people are in the position that they are because of other people. Not that that's not true. Racism exists. I don't deny that. I just don't think it's a fixable problem through putting someone's identity over merit in promotions and hiring or in anything. I think it's a terrible idea, and I think
when you paint with a broad brush, like when you paint white people with a broad brush, or when you say Haitian migrants are eating cats and dogs, that's when it's all based on identity. That's problematic, right?
I think it's stupid. I think that anybody talking about Haitians eating cats and dogs is absolutely stupid. I think it obscures the real issue, which I do think that there's an immigration problem. I think most people agree with that. And I almost think the Republicans want to lose sometimes when they do stupid shit, like talk about specific cats and dogs in a fucking city in Ohio that, we don't see that in our neighborhoods. Most people think that, that pushes people farther to the left.
Yeah, on that we're kind of agreed. It just feels like Kamala Harris has been trying not to put her identity front and foremost. Like she's been, if you listen to her acceptance speech, she hasn't been like emphasizing her race or her gender. She's been like focusing on personal stories and how she grew up. And so I don't understand why are you concerned about Marxism with respect to the Kamala Harris campaign as opposed to Donald Trump campaign? What's the big difference there?
I'll also say when she's asked about her identity, she just quickly shuts the conversation down and then says, move on. So like when people say, hey, Trump says that you just recently turned black, she just shakes her head and says, same old tired playbook, next question.
Yeah.
And then when you're done with that, I do have a question. When you say like hiring or firing based on identity, would you count like political ideology as part of identity? So hiring or firing somebody based on their politics? Is that a form of DEI?
That's a good question, and I would say no, because it's not an intrinsic quality. It's not something that one cannot change or impact with their own
right.
goodwill.
Sorry, no, that's fine. Just going back to Pisco's question. Go ahead. Sorry.
And I'm sorry, man. Like that question interested me, so I kind of lost track of the first one. Can you repeat that for me, please?
Pisco.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah. So like the first one would be, Kamala Harris has kind of been. Kind of evading the identity issue. She's trying not to emphasize that. And so what are you seeing as the big indicators, either policy-wise or otherwise, that you're going to see an increase in what you call Marxism, which is this kind of identity over merit situation?
Right. So I respect that. Like I think that Kamala, and I hope I'm saying that right.
You're not. It's Kamala. I don't know why it's so hard.
What did I say?
Kamala.
Say it again for me the right way, please.
Kamala.
Okay, no, I honestly, God, don't mean to do that.
No, it's cool. It just feels like very intentional with like people like Piers Morgan and you watch them
Nancy
and they
Mace.
you should know how to just say the name, like just pronounce it right. It's not like
Right,
I don't really care, but just pronounce it right. I'm not saying you specifically because you might have had, I guess you might not have heard it correctly, or I don't know.
I don't talk to a lot of people about politics. It's more something that I do. I find interest on X and online with it, so I don't say it out loud a lot. And now that I'm about to say it again, I'm nervous I'm going to say it wrong. So it's like,
no, you're good. You're good.
I got
So
the gifts
it's
or
comma.
something.
It's like comma. Like if you're saying like a comma as a grammatical thing, like so Kamala.
Okay, all right. I'm just going to say Miss Harris to be safe.
Sure, that's fine.
But I do respect that. I think that she has done a good job of deflecting. Part of that I attribute to she's becoming a good politician, and she's trying to win an election, and she knows that that's not a good issue for her. But in terms of why I have more concerns.
Hold on, wait. Deflecting what?
Like she's not going on race. She's not promoting her identity.
No, stop. Hold on. No, stop.
Exactly.
Wait. Hold on. Pisco. He just framed that so unbelievably negatively.
Yeah,
you didn't frame that like she just doesn't want to talk about it because she doesn't think it's an important issue of substance. You make it sound like she's going to lose based on her racial identity, so she's avoiding it and she's becoming a good politician. Is that how you meant to characterize that?
No, I don't think that's exactly. I think that she knows that. Well, I believe Biden's on record saying that he was going to pick a black female or a minority female for his VP, and that's her legacy.
Female, yes.
Right. So she is somewhat hired based upon her identity. I don't like the term DEI hire because it implies that every minority that's in a good position got it because of their identity and not their merit.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. That's not true. You're winning a popularity contest to some extent when you're voting for your leader. Also, leaders are supposed to represent you to some extent. For instance, we wouldn't say that Pence was a DEI pick, even though Trump picked him largely for his conservative identity and for his evangelical identity, right? That doesn't make him a DEI pick. He's trying to appeal to a wider base of voters that he might not have a lot of appeal with.
But again, Justin, you're confusing intrinsic qualities like race and ethnicity with things that people have control and
no, why does that matter there? It doesn't matter there. That's not relevant there.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Character of the person is what matters in the world.
Hold on. You can't discriminate based on somebody being like a veteran, but you can choose whether or not you want to be in the military. You can't discriminate on somebody based on like if they have kids, but you can choose whether or not to have children.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about discrimination. I'm talking about what matters in an individual. And things that they don't have any control of need to be separated from things that they do have control of. That's an important distinction. Would you agree with that?
Okay,
sure,
that's fine,
but if you're trying to pick a leader
responses-
for a country, you probably want people that represent the people that you're trying to lead, right?
But you're changing the goalpost.
No,
every
hold on.
time
Stop.
you make a point.
My goalpost has not moved a micrometer. Okay. You said
course
that
it-
picking somebody to run on your ticket because of their race is DEI, implying that they're not otherwise qualified. There are probably tons of people qualified to run for vice president. I mean, technically, you don't need any qualifications. Why is it wrong to pick somebody who might represent a broader part of the constituency that you don't represent, like by race?
Because I believe that merit matters more than identity. And by definition, when he says that he's going to pick a female, he's limiting the pool of qualified candidates. And I don't want to get. I mean, I'll
Wait
talk
a minute.
about
Do you
whatever
think like
want.
the upper echelon of like black female candidates is competitive with the upper echelon of white female candidates or white men or whatever? Like, surely you don't believe that there is a way to, construct like a very strict hierarchy down to the candidate. You're talking about tiers, TIERS, of qualified candidates, right? So when he's saying he's going to pick a black woman, he's presumably going to pick the best qualified black woman he can find. And presumably the best qualified black woman is competitive with the most qualified black man or white woman, right? I assume you don't think that a white man is more qualified than a black woman, right?
I mean, there are a lot of hypotheticals in that.
Well,
I don't
spoiler.
think-
We'll skip to the end of it. Spoiler alert: they're all on par with one another. We have no reason to believe that the best of black women is somehow not competitive with the best of black men, white women, and so on and so forth. So he narrows it down to black
in what
women.
Field?
Say what?
In what field?
Well, it's not about. Well, it's just like you have buckets of people that are there. Again, there are probably 1,000 people that would have been okay VP picks. But like if you're saying like, okay, well, I think I want to pick somebody who's like I could agree that if he picked a black woman who is like a like a fucking drug addict, crazy person running around the streets, I was like, well, she's black, so I picked her. Then fine. But you're
that's
talking
not
about
where the story
somebody.
ended, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Do you acknowledge that Kamala has more qualifications to be president than either Donald Trump, Mike Pence, or JD Vance?
I don't know that there's specific qualifications that make a good president.
Wait. Then how
I
can you
don't
even
agree with
say
that.
DEI then?
Yeah. What do you care?
So DEI it's a policy, just like Biden when he said that he was going to pick. I don't know if it was an African American female, just female,
The Supreme
or
Court.
Wait,
Yeah,
no,
black
wait. It doesn't
woman.
matter though. Hold on. If we
But-
said that
but
DEI is
that's
elevating
limited.
identity over the merits, but if you
Okay,
just said
so-
that there's no like merit to choosing a VP because they don't have qualifications, then how is it DEI?
Let's just talk about it statistically. Let's say that if you're going to limit it to African American females, that gives you 1,000 potential candidates. But if you say, I'm going to pick the best candidate that we have out here in our country, and that gives you 10,000 candidates, the chances of finding someone who is better at the given position is better with a larger pool.
But you just said there were
And
no.
you're talking-
You just said
you
there were
just-
no qualifying things to be VP or president. So how would you even choose?
Look, so I don't know what makes a good vice president or not, but I imagine that the person that's running for president
you
is in
do.
a better position to choose people. I don't claim to.
I want to split the baby if that's okay, because I think that there's parts of both of this I agree with. I hear from Destiny and from Josiah that the identity of the individual is kind of in issue to the extent that the election or the qualities that make one a good candidate for vice president is winning the election, then maybe an identity is an integral part of that. Maybe identity is in issue and therefore should be considered. That said, I'm not so sure I buy that. I think that if truth over chaos, if Donald Trump said, I'm only going to consider white men for my vice, explicitly only white men, I think we would condemn that, wouldn't we? If
Absolutely.
he was like, yeah, we're only going to
Absolutely.
consider white men.
That's even
Wait
worse.
a second. Hold on.
It's
What
far
is the
worse.
percentage if we were to break down like evangelical people in the United States? Is this like an ultra heavily white group or whatever?
I don't know. Why would it matter?
Because I don't think anybody. Because Donald Trump clearly chose Pence because like he's a super evangelical.
Yeah, but
dude.
what if he said, I'm only going to pick a white man?
I mean,
You'd have a problem with that, wouldn't you, Stephen?
I don't know. Like Kamala Harris.
Yes, you would.
Kamala Harris probably explicitly picked a white man, right? You agree with that, right?
Probably, but we don't know for certainty.
No, but like let's say that it leaked where Kamala's like, I need a white guy, okay? Because like I'm literally a black woman. We need a white guy in here, okay? We got to get.
Yeah.
I think everybody, all the I guess Whitmer is a woman, but like people were the runnings were like white men, right? Like
Should she have done that?
I think it's fine. Yeah, it's a to some extent it's a popularity contest. Black people are a small percentage of the population. You want to have Like you want to represent
You
people.
have massive stones of steel, and you bit the bullet, and you think it's okay if Trump is like, I want to get elected, and so I'm only going to pick white guys for my administration, and that's a promise, a campaign promise. We'll only have white people at the start of leadership, and if I think that's in the best interest of my election, Stephen says that's okay. I don't have a problem with that.
If you want to, but I think wait, hold on. There's a bit of a difference here though, because Trump is already a white guy. So it feels kind of strange when somebody is saying that, like, I'm picky, because the whole rationale we're giving for picking somebody based on some kind of characteristic like race is because we want to represent more of our constituency. So when somebody said, like, if Kamala were to say, I'm only going to pick another black, here's a stronger statement I'll make. I'll bite this bullet. If Kamala were to say, I think I need a white guy, I would have less problems with that than if she were to say, I need another black woman. I would be like, wait, what? That's really weird.
Wait, is that really what you're saying?
Yes,
that the
absolutely.
race of the person is going to change your disposition on whether or not race-based election is okay?
Yes,
Can I
absolutely.
say something?
Because if the goal is greater representation or to grow the outreach or to have a larger tent party, it would make sense if you have a candidate and you're like, I want to shore up another type of difference that represents a greater part of my constituency, you'd pick somebody different. But if you pick somebody with the exact
I really
same,
want to shore up the black vote. So Kamala Harris right now is not doing as well in the polls with black voters as Joe Biden was and as Barack Obama was. If she was like, we need to double down on black voters, and so we're going to get another black
But that's
female.
not why Biden chose Harris in the first place.
I know. It's a hypothetical.
Well, fuck your hypothetical. Why are we catching strays here when the whole point is to pick fights with MAGA?
because Pisco's obsessed with it. But also, on
yeah.
Josiah's point, and this is something that I need to hear this, okay? Kamala Harris, and I think it says something about the Republicans, okay? If you're going to say Kamala Harris is a DEI pick, that means that the DEI pick is insane because it's more qualified than the pick for president, vice president, or the current vice president pick on the Republican side. Kamala Harris has more qualifications to hold that office than Trump, Pence, or Vance. No?
Well, what is your metric for qualification, Stephen? If you're saying that they're more qualified,
She's already held a type of public office.
Yeah. So by qualifications, you are saying that it's more than just your appeal. You're saying that there's something to a person. I agree with this, by the way.
If you're going to have qualification, she was literally the executive, right? She was a prosecutor and attorney general. Okay, it's literally the same branch of government. Yeah.
About like your actual tangibles, your actual resume, that stuff. I think that is very much at issue when you're talking about a candidate's qualifications beyond just whether they'll appeal to a certain sector. And that's why I'm splitting the baby here. I think that it's a little problematic to be like, I'm only going to consider people from this demographic. I think that's a little problematic. I don't think it's what.
Wait, so then
say.
you think it was problematic? Actually, that's also somebody pointed out that isn't fair. You're right. Pence actually did have a decent record in law. Certainly more qualified than Trump, though, or in government. I'm sorry. Wait, repeat what you just said, Pisco, because you were triggering.
I don't know how comfortable I am with the candidate saying something like,
I remember what I was going to ask. So when Biden said he was going to, I think he said explicitly he was going to appoint a black woman, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that was bad?
I don't think he should have done it. That's correct. But I think that said, I wouldn't call her a DEI hire. I wouldn't denigrate the people who are actually qualified. I just don't think that these kinds of public positioning where you're saying, I won't consider anyone on the basis of their race, I don't think that that's good.
Okay, let me say one more thing and then I'll be done, okay?
Yeah.
Because Josiah said this. I got an email a while ago that completely revamped my perspective on this, and I think it's true. I think when people think of hiring, we think of like, okay, well, we've got 100 applicants, and it's trivially easy to list them from most qualified to least qualified, right down a list. But the reality is that never happens, probably for any job. You have buckets of people who are like, these people never hiring. These people were super desperate. These would be good employees, and these are like our top employees, and then you might have to make difficult decisions around the top. But I feel like there are plenty of qualified people to choose from probably every demographic in the United States. And the idea of limiting it to a certain type because you want to broaden the representation that you have in your party, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Again, if Kamala Harris was literally like a crazy woman, homeless, running in the street being crazy, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is obviously fucked. But like, clearly we can look at her background and see that that's not the case. So to just chalk it all up to DI,
and whatever you think about this, and we can have reasonable disagreements, truth over truth, like, how is this more important than trying to steal the fucking 2020 election? Can you tell me that?
So Marxism killed 100 million people last century. Can we agree on that?
Wait. No, that's fair. You think Marxism did? Wait. Marxism as defined as identity over merit or whatever, that's what killed 100 million people?
Marxism is when you have a black vice president.
Like I said, that's where it gets complicated because it's got such a long history. But my point is that it's that ideology that points the finger at other people and eradicates personal responsibility.
So Nazis
wait.
were communists, right? Because their
Or
identity.
fuck that. You said lack of personal responsibility. Donald Trump is the king of blaming the swamp, blaming people that he hired, wanting to ask for criminal immunity, blaming the courts, blaming the governors in the states, blaming his own departments. Like, how is Donald Trump not the king of no accountability? He pardoned every single person around him.
I'm not a huge Trump fan.
Wait, are you voting? Are you supporting
voting for
voting
him?
for Trump in the election?
Yes, over Harris,
Okay,
absolutely.
then you're a
Okay,
Trump
so then how can you say
I
wait?
can't defend.
How does Trump exhibit personal responsibility more than Kamala?
I don't think that more than Kamala. I don't think that's a debate that necessarily matters. Although I can give.
Well, those are the two people that are running for
It's a
election.
candidate.
So
Right, but we're not going to get everything we want in a candidate. It's immature to think that this candidate is going to be like Jimmy Stewart at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. It's just not realistic. People in Washington are dirty, contentious, difficult, often sociopathic people. And you don't rise to that level by being a good person that's always taking personal responsibility and looking out for others.
do you think it's more sociopathic to become a member of Congress or to become a billionaire?
To become that's a tough one.
Is it?
Probably equally disgusting.
Equally, 1-to-1 here, really?
Yeah, I mean, like what billionaire? You put so many questions in terms of a class of people, which makes it a really difficult question because I don't think about people in terms of classes.
You literally
I
just
think
did that. You
individuals-
literally just said people who work in DC are all like corrupt, evil people.
No, so that's different in terms of actually, you have a point. I think that I did kind of violate my own rule there, but in general, I was trying to make a point that I don't like a lot of things that Trump does. I can't justify them. I can't justify a lot of things in his past, but you have two choices, and the country's going to go one direction or the other. And I think that the leftist ideology has infected so much of our country in terms of the universities, our mainstream media, government.
So when you say I'm curious. So when you say mainstream media, for instance, do you acknowledge that Fox News, and it's all public information, openly lied for months about the Dominion, about the stuff going on with Dominion? That they knew it was wrong, that they lied openly about it, and that they continued to tell that lie anyway.
Destiny, I'm sorry, should I call you Steven or Destiny?
Steven is fine.
Okay, thanks. Steven, this is the debate that you and I had that I think caused you to block me.
Snowflake.
Yeah, I mean, so I think your post was that Fox
No,
News
wait, we don't have to go back. No, wait, we don't have to go back to that. Are you aware that all the hosts on Fox News, all the execs in the brain room knew that they were publishing lies every single time they went on to talk about Sidney Powell's Dominion lawsuit stuff? They knew that.
So all of who again?
All the Fox News execs and all of the big show hosts. So Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity,
Laura Ingraham.
I can't pronounce the one lady's name who does, I think it's the Sunday Morning Futures or whatever the fuck. All of them knew that they were lying when they were out there saying these things.
So what things?
The Dominion lawsuit, that Dominion was founded in Venezuela, that they were flipping votes, that they were causing the election results to be significantly altered.
But Stephen, I think this is where you got frustrated with me, is that specifics matter. If you're going to talk about they're guilty of something serious like this, you have to know the timing. You have to know what they knew at that time.
What they knew was that they knew they had a fact-checking room called the Brain Room that knew that the specific claims, the specific factual claims that Sidney Powell was making about Dominion being founded in Venezuela, being associated with Hugo Chavez, and that there was evidence that votes were being flipped. They knew that those pieces of information were factually incorrect. They fact-checked it in the back and knew that it was incorrect, and they continued to run programs that were repeating those claims uncritically.
So, assuming everything that you said is true, that Fox News hosts were aware that precisely the statements that they were putting out to the public were false at the time that they made those statements to the public, I completely agree that they're guilty of lying to the American public.
Okay. Can you give me a single example on the left of anything that even remotely approaches that? Where an entire network was involved in spreading a lie that came from a political campaign for a month and they knew it was a lie?
So I think that the media's complete indifference and lack of interest in a president that showed significant decline in physical and mental capabilities is one of the most
No, no,
disgusting.
no, no, no.
Bro, they were
Wait a minute.
so on it.
They were publishing op-eds, exposés, and reports about President Biden's gaffes to a staggering degree. Media Matters has covered this extensively. The rate at which Biden's gaffes were covered compared to Trump's was like a 4-to-1 ratio. You are dead wrong.
Not to put aside like the social media. Social media was inundated by some true like clips of his mental decline and some like doctored images of his decline. It was everywhere.
Also,
and the American people all got the message.
Yeah, and also look at the difference in response. Biden had that bad debate performance, and he was pushed out of running for election again as the incumbent president. Fox News,
unheard of in American
Fox News
history,
settled the largest settlement in the history of defamation lawsuits, and they operate like nothing even happened.
Yeah, and I asked a question about that. No
Wait a
one
minute.
was
Can you concede what we just said there? Because you have to understand, number one, these two things are not comparable, and number two, you were wrong on the coverage of Biden's gaffes. Number three, you were wrong about the response to Biden's gaffes. And number four, you said you're an attorney. I'm not. My understanding is that the threshold for defamation cases is absurdly high in this country, given the First Amendment. So the fact that Fox settled and nearly paid $1 billion to dodge this trial seems to indicate that they knew that they may very well lose at trial, to say nothing of the documents that were released during discovery, contemporaneous evidence, text messages, emails, private correspondence from the executives, the on-air talent, indicating they knew that the people they were either about to interview the next day or had just gotten done interviewing were full of shit. Can you please just concede, for the sake of good faith, this asymmetry here?
Man, I don't know if it's my memory or if I need a notepad or about it. There's like 5 things there. So
the first one was the media coverage. You claimed that the Biden's gaffes were not covered by the media, and Josiah presented you evidence, one in the form of a statistic, and also we can just point you to the deluge of news articles about his gaffes for years now. Could you at least acknowledge the media wasn't like hiding for Biden his gaffes?
Again, so the gaffes is a specific term. I'm talking more about evidence of physical and mental decline in terms of, can this guy be president? Where Joe Scarborough, just before the debate, is saying that I know this guy, this is the sharpest Biden ever. And, clearly that's the opposite of true. And I can see that with my own eyes. So
wait. Let's hold on. Let's just do a quick logic, okay? You think that Scarborough was lying when he said that?
100%.
Why would he lie about that, knowing that Biden was about to do the most publicly viewed debate in all of U.S. history?
I think that, there's conspiracy theories that I don't think are impossibilities. I don't really want to get into them because I also don't think that they're likelihoods. But, I think that they were surprised by it.
Wait, no. No.
They're surprised that it wasn't a lie.
It can't be true that he was surprised by it, because if that was true, then it wasn't a lie.
I do think that they pumped him full of drugs when he had debate performances or big speeches. And I think that he anticipated that would continue to happen.
Hold on. Do you have any evidence for that whatsoever?
No, I don't have evidence for it. No, I can't say that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I will say that I think that...
But you think it?
Huh?
You think it even though you have no evidence for it? Why?
Well, so because, I look at the world in terms of patterns, and that helps me figure out what people's motivations are. And
I'm seeing a pattern right now.
The left... Do you think Joe Biden was running...
Why do you think he's on drugs if you have no evidence for it and you acknowledge he doesn't have evidence for it?
Or let's say you thought he was on drugs. Why didn't they just give him more drugs for the debate?
That's a good question. I think that they wanted him out.
Why?
Wait, what is this? Hold on. So the plan is that everybody's a part of is that we're going to get Biden out. Then why would they waste time covering for him? Did they just change their mind? Why did they change their mind?
So that's an interesting thing, because another part that I have a real problem with the media for is a complete 180 on Kamala. There's
don't topic change. Don't topic change.
Well,
let's wait. I want to follow.
You asked me why did they potentially want Joe out, and they wanted someone else as a potential explanation for that. So it's answering your question. But if you want to talk about Joe Biden more, a lot of it is in the eye of the beholder. I know what I believe I saw, and I can't believe that you don't agree that you saw the same thing.
Truth.
Because I'm trying to just make sense of it. Like, why would you go out and tell something that you know to be a total lie, knowing that it's about to be revealed as soon as Biden steps out on stage to debate?
Well, I don't know if it was about to be revealed.
Moreover, you said they wanted him out?
Yeah, I mean,
why wouldn't they just tell the truth then?
Yeah,
If
wait,
he
why
was
wouldn't
either
Joe
25th
Scarborough?
Amendment?
Imagine if Scarborough had come out before and he had said, actually, we've been watching Biden behind the scenes. He's deteriorating a lot and he's super stubborn. And then Biden goes out and he fucks up the debate performance. Well, now they all look great, don't they? Oh, cool, we got him out and we look great. Like, why would you fuck yourself over?
I think that the media, mainstream media, and someone like Joe Scarborough is essentially a propaganda wing for the Democratic Party.
But you said they wanted him out.
Wait. Hold on. Okay, yes, a propaganda wing for the Democratic Party. If they wanted him out, why wouldn't they go to Scarborough and say, hey, we need you to start, like, shitting on this guy?
Yeah, I don't know that Scarborough was in on it at that point.
Wait, if he wasn't in on it, then it wasn't him lying. It was his genuine opinion.
That point. So, no, but I think that he knew that he was failing mentally and physically, but he still was in the back for Biden, like everybody was, across the board. And...
Okay, so just to recoup, so you think that people like Scarborough are doing propaganda for the Democratic Party, but they're not contacted by the Democratic Party, but they go out and they lie for Biden, not knowing what the Democratic Party wants, and then they get the message that Biden is bad after he has a debate performance and after now they've lost a ton of credibility, and then they switch messaging now to go and be against Joe Biden?
That's like a straw man with no legs. That's not even close to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that
Go ahead.
There's people that are running this country, and I don't believe that Joe Biden has been making the final calls on big decisions the last 4 years.
Okay.
I don't know if it's worth debating because you don't know either. It's something where neither of us are going to have any evidence.
Israel?
Well, no, the problem is, to be clear, you have zero evidence for any of this, right? These are all just like conspiracies that you believe that you have nothing to support.
What evidence do you have that Joe Biden did not have any advisors or puppet masters who were controlling him?
Did you just ask him to prove a
How am
negative?
I supposed to do that?
I mean, so it's something. What I'm saying is that no one knows what goes on in the Situation Room or wherever it is they're making fucking.
Was Trump
decisions.
making all the decisions when he was president for 4 years, or was there a secret cabal controlling him?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, wait, so you're not
Why are
voting
you
then,
voting?
at least, right? At least you're not
Right.
voting, right?
Of course, I'm going to vote.
Wait, why?
I
If it's just secret cabals changing everything behind the scenes anyway, why waste your money and waste your time?
I think that and I do have concerns about what the hell Trump's and the right's doing, almost like they want to lose. But, I think that at least they understand the dangers of Marxism. And that seems to be the biggest concern that we have. And, there's so much arrogant ignorance about the slope that this goes down. And it scares me for my kids more than for myself, but it's a serious concern. There was one other question I wanted to address, which was about the $780 million settlement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I handled a lot of cases where
He's going to talk on some bullshit about how somebody settled because of whatever. That's not at all related to this, and it's a stupid red herring to even go down this case.
Let him tell his anecdote.
No, I already know his anecdote. It's fucking retarded. I can tell you what you're going to say. So, I had a lot of cases where my clients didn't want to go to court for a variety of reasons, so they decided to settle for a variety of reasons, but just because you settled something doesn't necessarily mean that you admit guilt, right? Can we just skip it? That's what you're going to say, right?
That's what you're gonna say,
That's
is it?
part of it, but also that there's information that comes out in discovery. So, you're talking about perverts like Bill O'Reilly and who are some of the others at Fox News, like that Eric Bowling guy.
Yeah, Jesse Waters, both, but neither Waters nor Bowling were working for Fox at the time that this came out. I mean, Waters was there, but O'Reilly and Bowling were long gone.
I don't know, all of the specifics about who was there. My point is that there's fucking perverts there. The owner is probably into weird shit too.
You like
You
Fox?
understand? You know the stuff that I was reading off about the stuff that I was reading, right? Like the text messages and everything. Do you know where those came from?
Where?
From fucking Discovery. They ended up settling literally like the day before the trial. So Discovery already happened. So your explanation doesn't even make sense procedurally.
They discovered the absolute day before the trial?
I think they settled.
No,
they settled the day before the trial, or it might have been the morning of. I don't remember.
Okay.
It was
So,
very close in
so-
time to trial.
All right, so I don't know the details on that, but there's information that can come out at trial that didn't come out at discovery as well. So
True.
there are there's potentially information that was in discovery that was going to come out.
That's great, and that might be the
was more
case, but the
damage.
reality is I've seen enough of the slides to basically prove the defamation with malice, like that seems to
Not
be
even
there.
close.
Steven, can I ask you this? How are they going to prove $780 million in damages? If they were prepared for trial, they must have had evidence ready to demonstrate, how the statements from Fox were.
Yeah,
gonna
to
cause
the
that much
brand
damage.
name. So one, you can point to probably a bunch of contracts that weren't renewed in states that have crazy conspirators. You can
But
point
can you point to any? Can you point me to any?
Can I
Can you
point?
give me any
No,
evidence of it, or
I
just
specifically
speculation?
didn't come to this is the world we want podcast with all of the damages calculations of the plaintiffs.
Yeah,
and the
but
Dominion lawsuit.
I only asked you that.
No,
You're
I
not
don't
gonna
have.
You
do
also,
that.
you
No,
also,
I
you
don't
don't
have
necessarily
offhand.
have to prove damages in every single defamation case. You can sue for a
Of
ton
course you do. That's part of it. That's an element to it.
You absolutely do not. For instance, for like defamation per se, damages are statutory. You don't have to prove lost money or damages to actually be awarded something from a court. So you're dead wrong. Number one. Number two, Dominion is a company that has contracts all over the United States of America. I'm sure that they could go to court and have a heyday saying, here's what we did, 2 years ago. This was last year. Look at our revenue now. We're going to argue this for damage. I'm sure there's a ton
This
of
is what I
ways
had
they
to
could
spend
argue
on
damage.
PR. This is what we had to spend on
Yeah,
investigations.
holy
This is what we had
shit.
to spend on lawsuits. This is what we had to spend on all that. Yeah, and also if it's done with sufficient malice, you could absolutely have some kind of
Statutory
damages.
Yeah.
and yeah.
Stephen, per AI, the fifth element for a defamation case is damage.
Are you citing AI?
Why are you somebody who graduated law school? Why are you
Well,
go to
you
Westlaw and
told
read?
me
Why
I
are
was
you giving me
wrong.
an AI answer?
Because Stephen, you told me I was wrong.
You are
I just
wrong.
told you that damage.
So
was an element
defamation
to-
per se. Defamation per se. Do you know what defamation per se is?
I don't offhand. It's not in the area of law practice.
Then why the f you talking? Why are you citing AI?
Well, he told me that damage wasn't an element for defamation.
It doesn't have to be,
element,
not
but
necessarily.
you don't
It was
have
a quick. It was a quick way to tell Stephen he's wrong.
Don't cite AI. You're making our industry look bad. All right. So it is true that typically damages on a normal defamation case is one of the elements that you're going to have to prove. But there are certain categories in different states, and it's different by state, where there's such thing as defamation per se, where if the defamation is of a certain kind, they're going to assume certain damages, whether it's nominal damages, or they're going to apply some kind of flat rate to it. That is just, you can look that up at your own leisure. But it is true in this case that they would have put on experts to talk about the damages. There would have been a battle of the experts, and they would have put up all their contracts and stuff. And so really, this isn't the whole,
If it were the
this is
day
where you should be
before
dying on.
trial-
You should be concerned that Fox News was knowingly spreading lies about the election. That should be what concerns you, not about the amount of damages.
Yeah, I have not seen any concise, clear documentation about what the lies were or how they.
Tucker Carlson said these are all bullshit to that effect. Stephen has the exact quote somewhere in his big ass document, and he's knowing this, and they're putting on these cats to talk about all the bullshit claims.
These are execs at Fox, from Ron Mitchell to Tommy Firth. The Dominion shit is going to give me a fucking aneurysm. As many times as I've told Laura it's bullshit, she sees shit posters and Trump tweeting about it. She wanted to invite an 8chan poster on about this. I beat her back on Dominion, saying we should have to tell the truth, and this makes the president look like an idiot and expose you and maybe Fox to his continued wrath.
But that that's a statement from a certain date. I would need to see a statement that was Tucker Carlson.
This statement was from November 12th, while they were still running shows about Dominion, which they did all the way through up through January.
Yeah, but Stephen, you understand my point about the specifics matter if you're going to talk about.
Hold on, I'm so
What
sorry,
it
but
is.
you don't even know the difference between statutory damages versus defamation per quad. Why are you talking to me about the specifics when you were just consulting AI for like basic information about defamation lawsuits? You don't care
You
about the
didn't know.
specifics. You don't even know how. You don't even know how the cases work. What are you talking about?
What legal work
Hold
do
on,
you
no,
do?
wait, hold
I
on.
just
Also,
need
wait,
to
I'm so
add
sorry.
that
Stop,
to you
stop,
that you
stop.
didn't
Wait, no,
know.
wait, stop.
I did it for your benefit,
No,
Stephen.
it's not for my
I'm trying to
benefit. I've
help
already
you.
done all of this, and I linked it to you
told
in our
that
Twitter
damages
thread. I
were
already
part
linked it
of
to you in our
You
Twitter
didn't
thread.
believe me.
Also,
But AI
why are you
tells you not
talking
to,
about
and you still don't
needing
believe me.
specifics for this when you don't need even you don't need a shred of evidence that Biden is on adrenochrome, is on drugs? You believe all of that without a shred of evidence? But when there's 163 slides in this case where Fox settles the largest case of all time for defamation? You're like, well, I don't know. I would have to go and look, explain. Like, why haven't you? You're not concerned about something like this?
I've got bigger concerns in my life.
Why do you think Joe Biden's on drugs?
Than evidence.
Why do you think he's on drugs? Tell us.
You know, I think that was a minor point that I don't know the specifics.
We just spent the past 3 days on that minor point.
All I know is that
What sort
the
of
whole
legal work do
country
you do?
watched as he fell at military services. He shook hands with people that
proves he's
were
on
there,
drugs.
wasn't there. He couldn't get off of a stage. So the whole country saw that, and the media.
That proves he's on drugs. Falling down proves you're on drugs.
Trump literally almost died of COVID, and you're trying to, like, Jesus Christ.
But I'm not saying that Trump's healthy. What does that have to do with anything?
But you're going to be
You have to
voting
vote for one
Trump.
or the other.
And Biden's not the candidate.
Yeah.
Biden's not the candidate. So if physical and mental health matter to you, you should be voting for Kamala Harris.
You know, Marxism is more of a concern than anything else in my view.
It's so concerning you can't define it. What are we doing here?
I just defined it for you in terms
Identity
of
over
the
merit,
DEI
except Donald Trump is
situation.
the biggest nepotism, biggest nepo baby there's ever been. He advances identity politics more than Kamala. Oh my God, I did it.
I'm not a fan of nepotism. I think that's reprehensible too.
Wait. On nepotism, can you agree that Donald Trump bringing his family into the White House is more nepotistic than I know in recent history of any other president?
I would say that's probably true.
Okay, so he's more nepotistic. Do you agree that what are we even supporting Donald Trump for then? What, you think he'll fight against Marxism? Is that the most
Marxism
important?
as defined by identity over merit.
So I think in a lot of ways, the left has abandoned the idea of truth in favor of compassion.
Hold on, you understand that you just made an argument that Biden, with no evidence whatsoever, is on drugs, that the media was all complicit in hiding this with no evidence, but you won't accept the fact that Fox News, with a mountain of deposition and discovery in front of you in the entire world, you won't admit that they knowingly lied to the American public for months leading up to the election? Why are you talking about evidence or truth? You're completely divorced from reality.
Man, you know, these attacking, ranting questions, man, I don't think it's interesting, but if
Attack
that's what your
destiny,
listeners
attack
want to hear
personality.
about, like...
Oh, well, okay, hold
whatever,
on. You already acknowledge that you have no proof. You don't even have, like, evidence, like hard evidence, that Scarborough was lying about Joe Biden's mental state. You have no evidence of him being on drugs. You admitted as much. You're like, I'd be crazy about talking about this. You have eyes?
You have
What did you say you do?
eyes.
Trial court? Have you ever used that one before? I have eyes, Judge. Is that how you win cases for your clients? I have
rest my
eyes.
case.
Don't worry. As long as you bring your eyes to court, we'll be good today. The jury loves that line. I have
You
eyes.
know, you resort to these fussy insults because you would lose in a debate on the facts, and I think you know that.
On which facts?
On which fact?
So what I'm telling you is the left has abandoned truth in many of their policies and blinded people with the idea that we can just be compassionate about everything. We can tell anybody they can be the gender they want, and everybody has to go along with that.
Did the French do that too when they gave us the Statue of Liberty with that cringy poem about give us your huddled masses or whatever? Should we have been saying from the very beginning, immigrants, everybody that wants to come here and do anything in America, that's a delusion? Like, was that DEI or Marxism as well? Or
Man, I don't even understand what you're attacking me for there. Like, is that a real question?
yes.
Okay, can you clarify for me what you're saying?
Why the fuck did we accept Irish and Italian immigrants who were coming over poor and broke and destitute from fucking Europe? Was that a mistake? Was that DEI? Was that Marxism?
I mean, of course not, but I don't even understand. I'm trying to understand what the point of the question is.
This idea that helping people or welfare or your definition of Marxism and how the Democrats are doing it is like incoherent. I don't understand what. What's a concrete step that Biden has taken us towards Marxism?
Advancing DEI throughout FEMA, throughout Secret Service.
How has Biden advanced DEI through FEMA?
So I know that there's I think the number one statement within their policy goals is to promote equity, something DEI related.
Hold on, I'm going to ask again. How has FEMA done something? How has Biden done something with by the way, every fucking company's mission statement on the planet is going to have something to do with equity or some bullshit, okay? I'm asking, what did FEMA do?
That's the problem.
Yeah. What did FEMA do that was bad about, like, DEI? Like, what did they do?
So the fact that they devoted resources towards that rather than people like me who have been hit by 2 hurricanes is ridiculous.
Resources towards towards what?
Towards DEI trainings, towards making that a policy goal.
Truth.
All of that.
There is a natural disaster relief fund that FEMA presides over. Not one penny of that has gone towards DEI initiatives. What are you talking about?
Well, still, it's government waste to do anything towards DEI.
You just said that that relief for people like you who have been hit by 2 hurricanes was being diminished because of DEI initiatives. Number one, that's not true. Number two, what's your real concern here?
My real concern here is that merit, capability, quality of production, the value of a hard day's work, communities of people working together are all things that matter. And as we focus on anything other than that, we lose sight of the truth and what humanity is capable of. We make people weaker by teaching them to blame others for their problems.
So if that's the case, isn't Donald Trump the ultimate example of that? Who's the fault for America's problems? It's immigrants. It's China. It's
liberals.
The Democrats. It's DEI. It was the swamp. It was all these people that I fired. It's the corrupt governors. It's the system. It's the bureaucracy. It's the deep state.
Do you have a single example of Donald Trump publicly admitting that he fucked up, that he ever made a mistake?
Ever.
Probably not. I think he's a pretty severe narcissist.
Pretty big deal if you're talking about personal responsibility. A guy who was not taking personal responsibility for literally anything in his decades of public life. That's what you just said, and you're over here talking about personal responsibility. Give us a break.
Well, you're equating what my values are in terms of a person and for my family and community with what I have to have in my president. If
there's no relationship between your values and who you want as president, even if we grant you every single premise, which we don't, then that's still not a reason for you to vote for Trump over Kamala, because you just said you don't care.
What reason are you talking about?
You're saying that the person doesn't matter. That just because you're voting for someone doesn't mean that they have to embody personal responsibility. And what Josiah is rightfully telling you is, by that logic, then it doesn't matter if Kamala Harris or Joe Biden embodied certain principles that you don't agree with, because it's also irrelevant just as much as Trump's personal failings are irrelevant. Do you understand what I just said, or no?
I really don't follow, but I think that either way, it goes back to the fact that I know that whoever I vote for isn't going to be perfect. They're going to be far from perfect.
We're not talking about who's perfect; it's about who's better.
Right. Yeah, I still think that overall, it's a complex world, and you have to look at what your top priority is.
No, hold on. It's not complex and it's not overall. You're obfuscating when you say that, because you can't give a single fact on which Donald Trump would be better than Kamala Harris, because you're delusional. You're not attached to reality at all.
Yeah, and please don't go back to Marxism, because, again, not only did you not define it well, number two, you just said that there's no relationship between your personal values and the person that you want to be president. So that's just really boring. Let's move on to actual disagreements that you have, like on policy specifically, on record, on aspirations. What are some other reasons that you don't want Kamala to be president?
So,
give him a second to put it into AI. Give him a second.
You all do an awful lot of attacking and not very much listening. So I think that's a big problem that exhibited by Kamala supporters, is that
listening is too much compassion, and we don't want to show you compassion because clearly you have an issue with it. So I'll ask you again,
tell you the truth.
Outside of Marxism, what are reasons that you don't want Kamala to be president?
So it's the almost fascist rigidity with which you all must follow the leftist ideology, and how much anything that conflicts with your leftist ideology terrifies you.
Does it bother you that you say that, but there's more ideological diversity in the Democratic Party versus the party of Donald Trump, where if you say anything mean about Donald Trump, he will explicitly attack and destroy your career? Like, can you think of any Democrat politician who's attacked Democrat? Go ahead.
So are you talking about, I thought you were talking about supporters when you were asking the question, but then the last thing you said suggested that it was in terms of politicians.
Major figures, supporters.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, my bad. He just wants to talk about people on Twitter. My bad, because he doesn't.
No, I don't know. I'll answer the question, but I don't understand.
Who do you think attacks people in the party more, in their own party more? Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, or Tim Walz, or Donald Trump? Who do you think attacks their party more?
Trump by far. Trump by far.
Yeah.
Okay,
So he's
then-
much more fascist and
Yeah.
unitary, and he does not tolerate people dissenting. But meanwhile, we have a coalition between Dick Cheney, Kamala Harris, and AOC.
How is
So-
that fascist?
So just going back to the current election in terms of, certainly Trump is bombastic and insults people all the time. And, he does threaten other people's careers and does ridiculous shit like that. The left, that stuff isn't out in the open, but you can be damn sure it's happening.
Wait,
And I
what?
think that's what's scarier. So the thing with Biden getting pushed out and George Clooney writing the op-ed.
Hold on.
all of
George
that-
Clooney writing the op-ed. That's a public Hollywood actor writing a public Hollywood piece. The
Yeah,
pressure
and I
from the
think that-
politicians. This is public. What are you talking about? It's not.
It's public.
Well, so it's not doing what it's said. It's not. Yeah.
How is that private?
done-
You just got
it's
caught.
public.
Why don't you acknowledge one? Like, oh yeah, I fucked up. Sorry, bad example.
No, it's public. I agree. But what I'm saying more is that the politics within the Democratic Party seems to take place largely behind closed doors. And
Okay, well, here's a question. Can you think of anything that's even remotely within comparable to the private call that Donald Trump had with Raffensperger?
to be honest with you, I don't even remember what you're talking about, man.
Donald Trump called Raffensperger and ranted
to get more votes. To get the more votes.
Yeah, all that. Can you think of
Yeah.
anything that's
Yeah.
happened like that privately
bullshit.
that's even close to what Donald Trump did there?
So it's been a while since I looked at that, and if I recall correctly, the language it sounded bad, but
It was a
there
call where Donald Trump was
exculpatory-
rattling off a whole bunch of disproved conspiratorial nonsense.
and it was like, "Get me or find
No,
me."
I don't
find
care about
me.
that one thing. He was rattling off a ton of disproved conspiracies. The Mark Germany, I believe, was the lawyer, and then Brad Raffensperger were on the phone saying none of this is true. And then Trump and Meadows and then one of his attorneys was saying like, well, this is criminal. We know you guys are doing criminal behavior. You need to get me these votes. Like, I know that there's a voter fraud. You better have your election changed or whatever, right? That call was scandalous. Can you think of a single thing that Democrats have done on that level privately that Trump tried to do privately there?
The literal bribery indictment, Stephen. Come on.
So I think that there's evidence on the. Yeah, not off the top of my head. I'll
mention
down-
the
Okay,
bribery
wait.
indictments.
Can you think of anything that's on the level of Donald Trump trying to tell his Department of Justice to mail out fake letters to states saying that they'd found election fraud when they
Yeah,
haven't?
I don't know the facts that you're referring to well enough to answer.
Come on, you don't know the facts of the fucking election coup?
Or what about when
So,
Bill Barr?
you know-
What about when Barr left? When Barr publicly left with like weeks to go before the certification? I think on December 14th, Barr resigns from the DOJ. Okay, because he's tired of Trump lying about all the shit behind the scenes about the election fraud or trying to get him to do shit that he doesn't want to do. Right? Barr publicly quits over this. Can you think of anything the Democrats
Right.
have done on that level?
I get that the election stuff is all pretty widely accepted as disproven. So I don't say that there's evidence of.
No, I'm not
of
talking about
election
any of that.
fraud.
You said you made the claim that Democrats are doing private stuff behind the scenes. Okay?
Right.
And then your examples were very public things. I'm talking about things that were actually private, he tried to hide them a lot. But I don't know what the example is on the left that you're even comparing this to.
Maybe they're better at hiding them. If
So you have no
something is
evidence.
specifically
No
done
evidence.
behind closed doors, the whole point is not to produce evidence of it. You understand that, right?
So basically, the recurring. You said earlier in the when you first joined that you see patterns, and I'm seeing a pattern here, which is that you claim things without evidence. And so this
Yeah,
sounds more
I
like
mean,
religion.
that's
This
a
sounds more like
bullshit
wait a minute.
accusation.
This sounds more
Where
like
did
religion.
I claim things without evidence?
This sounds
Well, Biden drugs.
more like religion.
Biden drugs.
Or the
But
left
I
doing
didn't
things
claim
behind
it
closed
happened.
doors.
I just claim that as a possible explanation for it.
No, you said
because
you believed it.
I said that I
Do you
believe
believe it,
it's
yes or
possible.
no?
I didn't say that I believe that it's true. I said that I believed it's possible.
Oh, wait. Do you think it's true then that Biden was being given a cocktail drugs to perform better?
I don't know.
Be honest.
So
I
the
think
answer is
it's the
yes.
right way. I gotta
You
go.
do
in about
believe
10
it. You
minutes,
believe
guys.
it.
Hey guys, I gotta go in about 10 minutes. Do you guys? Is it okay if I?
I want to
just
give
tell
you the opportunity to ask us questions because we've been asking you a lot of questions. Do you have any questions for us? Do you want to interrogate any of us?
I would love to sometime.
Okay.
I just got to get ready for dinner here. But I mean, can I talk to you guys again sometime,
Yeah, of
Destiny? Or
course. We'll
Steven, are
never
you gonna
block you
block me
again. You're always welcome on This Is the World We Want. We want to have very good engagement by representative of the MAGA community, and so you're always welcome.
And
don't
I
like
think
being
you,
called
I think you
representative
are
of the MAGA
very
community,
representative of
He
MAGA.
is
my
super
friend.
representative.
I don't like
of MAGA.
being, I
Yeah.
don't, but you know, I don't like that because I talk
I
shit
don't like
about
it either.
Trump just as much as, I mean, not just as much as you guys, because that's all you guys do.
Hold on, wait.
But,
What are three big criticisms you have of Donald Trump?
I think he's a narcissist.
Okay, not really relevant. Go ahead. Two others.
Well, I mean, that's a criticism I hear from the left all the time. Is that
No. Well, but we complain about him being a narcissist because it manifests in illegal activities, like trying to get Ukraine to dig up information about a political opponent, or trying to direct his Department of Justice to prosecute political opponents, or using the office to rig the election. Those are why we don't like the fact that Trump is a narcissist. You don't like the fact that Trump is a narcissist because you think all he does is he tweets mean things at people. It's not the same.
So the one thing I was going to say to you guys in the few minutes I have left is just on the DOJ stuff. I know that you guys will disagree with this and tell me what an idiot I am, but I think there's enough patterns that it's pretty clear that you have a history of, 250 years of presidents where not one ex-president had ever been charged with a crime after their presidency. And then the next one, Trump, was it 94 crimes he's charged with?
Yeah.
And one of them, and you always hear these crazy things about like how he was embezzling $10 million from Dubai and shit like that.
He wasn't charged with that.
No, I know that he wasn't charged with that. But my point is, if he was doing shit like that, why did they charge him with a bootstrapped federal statute and state court fucking paperwork crime? Like, is it that important?
They charge him with a business records crime because he falsified business records.
I get it.
But
do you think that all of the other ex-presidents were entirely clean?
I don't have to prove that. That's not my claim.
No one has to prove that. I'm just saying.
No, I don't
there's
believe so. I think
evidence
Richard Nixon did criminal things. I think Ronald Reagan did criminal things, or arguably, definitely illegal things. I don't know about criminal, but certainly illegal.
I don't think any president conducted himself in a manner in which he thought he was above the law. I think that if ex-presidents did do illegal things, they were probably trying really hard to hide it. Donald Trump doesn't try to hide it because he can rely on sycophants like you to defend him no matter what, and constantly pivot away and constantly whataboutisms to other things. That's why you can't give a single example. You can sit here and say, well, don't you think other presidents did what? Who did what? What do you think? Give one example.
Steven, why do you get so worked up with me, man?
Because you're a fucking loser. Because you are a horrible, terrible person, right? Who is ostensibly part of the legal system in the United States, who doesn't need evidence to believe in things, who's supporting a guy who should be against every single value that any American person has. You're insane. And you're sitting up and you're saying things like, well, I think Democrats are divorced from the truth. And also, I think Biden has been on a cocktail of drugs forever that I have no proof for. I think the Democrats do bad things behind the scenes that I have no proof for. And I also don't conveniently know about any of these things that there's tons of proof for on the conservative side. You are emblematic of the worst of this country. You're worse than the most trans immigrant, illegal immigrant that eats all the cats and dogs in the entire country. You're the worse than that person.
Hey, if I block Steven, can I still join the space? Or
Well, I don't know. Probably not. I just want to say before we're going to sign off pretty soon. And thank you for joining us, Truth. But I just want to say avoiding reliance on AI can be important for several reasons. Number one, critical thinking. Relying too heavily on AI can hinder our ability to think critically and analyze information independently. Two, creativity. Human creativity and intuition are unique. Overusing AI may stifle original thought and innovation. Bias and misinformation. AI can perpetuate biases and inaccuracies present in its training data. It's vital to verify information independently. And so it's important to maintain the balance between using AI as a tool and fostering our own skills and judgment. And it's essential, by the way, when you're doing legal research to always check those sources. Do not use AI for legal research. Thank you so much.
I was just typing in my phone, Google, and sometimes AI comes up first. So sorry if that's a rule or something, but
it's a rule.
It's not a rule. We just don't want it to become a pattern.
If anyone uses
hold on.
AI,
I don't even agree with what Pisco just said, though, because I think you have to consider that AI-driven debates that can generate high-quality, nuanced arguments at scale and provide a powerful platform for testing and refining ideas can offer a lot of value to public discourse. And also, you have to consider that by training machine learning models on vast amounts of data and allowing them to engage in structured, iterative debates, it's possible that we can surface new insights, challenge assumptions, and ultimately arrive at more robust and well-reasoned conclusions.
All right. Thank you, guys. Wait, Truth. Seriously, we can do this sometime later. I appreciate everyone who's been listening so far. We tried to keep it a little bit more cabined in. You can all assess how successful we were. But in general, we want to keep the conversation flowing, and I wanted to let Steven cook a little bit more this time around. But seriously, appreciate everyone coming in. Let's do it again sometime soon, and I'll try my best to stay more calibrated next time, and appreciate everyone's input.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Later,
Take care.
guys. Keep it
Wait,
real.
Peace goes here. Just I can make you co-host if you want.
Sure.
Oh yeah, you can continue. I have to go, but much
fuck
love.
Fuck you, Pisco.
Love you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Hello.
Hi, Thurk. Do you want to defend Donald Trump and MAGA?
Is this specifically pro-Trump or is like fence sitting cool too?
It can be fence sitting. What
Yeah,
are you
fence
fence sitting on?
So I'm not voting for Trump, but I don't know if I'm going to vote at all. I voted for Obama in 2012.
Nice.
That's the only time I've ever voted.
Okay.
What turned you off in 2016 and 2020, if I may ask? And knowing that Steven only has like 15 minutes left, try to be
No, I'm good. I
concise.
got food coming. You're good.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was anything specific. I guess my fear of some of the things that did end up happening was why I didn't vote. I think that Trump is a good lesson politically, but I don't know about leading the country.
What are you looking for then, I guess, in a president? If you're on the fence, if you know you're not going to... So basically, it sounds like it's either Kamala or the couch, right? Because you're not going to vote for Trump.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. What is making you lean towards the couch? What makes you like J.D. Vance? What makes the couch so attractive to you? You see what I did there?
It's more that I just... So me not voting for Trump is, I guess, me more voting against what he stands for. And I guess I don't particularly see not voting as sort of voting for Trump because I don't want to kind of, I guess, let Democrats be complicit. They got to do maybe a little bit better than just not being Trump.
Yeah, okay. What would you like them to do?
I don't know. I have a bit of a bias because of Biden's actions in, I guess, the niche that I work in. I do like blockchain stuff. So that probably taints my view a little bit.
What has Biden done bad for like blockchain stuff?
So let me look up. Actually, give me 2 minutes to find specific.
What doesn't have to be specific? I'm just curious in general. What's your general perception? I'm not aware of the Biden admin doing or saying anything about like crypto shit.
So Trump, for no reason other than it'll make him popular, is threatening to. It was a big deal to fire the head of the SEC, who a lot of us think is unfairly stifling, I guess, good regulation in the space.
Wait, I'm confused. Trump fired somebody that would have helped.
No, okay. Trump is promising to fire somebody.
Okay, that would have.
But
helped.
I think the that action objectively would be good. I think that Biden is more for the type of regulation that I don't like in the space that's happening right now.
Like what
So
kind
then
of regulation?
Lack of regulatory clarity. So what the SEC has been doing is chasing after people without actually giving a concise statement on what the regulation even is.
Like who?
So the SEC classes things as securities or not securities, which is relevant in my space. And they have explicitly refused to state whether or not like a specific token is a security. And every time that we've kind of pushed to get a clear answer out of them, it hasn't happened. And Elizabeth Warren seems to be behind a lot of, I guess, influence that happens there. And she's closer aligned with Biden, which is probably my most negative bias against his camp.
So if Donald Trump is more friendly to the immediate space in which you work, why not vote for him? I'm glad you're not, but like there are clearly other considerations, right?
For the obvious reasons. So I have plenty of friends who are actually voting for him for reasons like that. I can't get over the January 6th thing. Honestly, that's the line.
Yeah. So, this, you take this for what it's worth, but I'm interested in how you engage with it. So I think that it sounds like you have serious reservations about Trump as an executive, somebody who clearly has authoritarian impulses. You probably think he's pretty stupid. you know, it seems to me that you and your industry, if like I grant you every premise that that because Biden is less friendly or a Biden appointee is less friendly to your particular industry, number one, doesn't necessarily mean that Kamala Harris will follow through. I mean, right now you have like Mark Cuban and others trying to put the squeeze on Kamala to fire Lena Khan of the FTC. She may or may not, but there's a possibility that Kamala's administration will be somewhat different than Biden. So there's a possibility. Yeah, so there's a possibility that the person you're looking to get fired would be fired, number one. Number two, we know that the concerns you have about Donald Trump would persist in a second Trump administration, right? So it seems to me that worst case scenario, you're looking at 4, potentially 8 years of what has gone on in your industry in the past 4. Whereas Trump becoming chief executive again, I mean, who knows what kind of Pandora's box that'll unleash, right?
Yeah, I feel like ethically not voting is different from taking a specific stance. So I think that's kind of my rationale.
Well, so the problem is that by not voting, you are increasing the likely. I mean, listen. So
I understand the practical outcomes.
Sure.
I'll just say I feel better about myself that way, regardless of the outcomes.
I suppose that's possible, given that you're not taking an affirmative. You're not making an affirmative action deliberately to try to put Trump in office. Your inaction just may help contribute to some degree to that consequence. But why not take a small affirmative action to deny someone you clearly view as the bigger problem, right? Because here's the thing. If by the premise by which you entered into this conversation, Trump is a definitive no. So the choice is between Kamala and the couch. So clearly you view Kamala as the lesser of the two evils. And if that's the case, why not just, vote for her? If that makes any sense. I suppose I would understand if you thought that Trump and Kamala were comparably bad and you didn't want to split the baby, you didn't want to make a decision, so you chose not to vote. But it sounds like you're saying that you would do something which would increase the likelihood of the bigger problem becoming president.
I don't think I necessarily agree with anything you just said.
You don't agree or disagree?
Sorry, don't disagree.
Yeah. So I don't know I don't think there's going to be a magic combination of words which will inspire you to vote for Kamala, other than just I would carefully consider the practical consequences of your decision. You choosing not to vote will contribute to one extent or another, even if it's infinitesimally small, to the person you clearly regard and concede is the bigger problem becoming president again, and rewarding him in effect. He would be, if Trump becomes president again, here's part of the thing that I'll also say. Let's say Donald Trump doesn't do all the heinous shit that he has promised that he would do. Like, that's what a lot of MAGA tells us. Like, he's just talking shit. Don't worry about it. Even if that's the case, even if it's just so he doesn't have to go to jail, let's say he just wants to become president so he can get more money, because he made quite a bit of money as president, because, of course, a lot of foreign interests are really interested in doing business with the Trump conglomerate, knowing that the head of it is the sitting president of the United States. Let's just say it's to make money and to order the DOJ to not prosecute him. That would be, in effect, rewarding him for bad behavior. So I would encourage you to consider the practical consequences of your decision, and just, find the time, take 30 minutes, go out and vote, and contribute in some small way to depriving this asshole of a second term.
Wow.
So, okay, so let's say I vote for the lesser evil. I feel like this pattern just leads to, instead of getting better policies, just fighting to not be the other guy. Like, where does that really lead us?
Wait, I mean, hopefully it just continues to improve the country in a direction that broadly aligns with what you want, right? You're always voting for the lesser of two evils. You're never getting a perfect politician, right?
Yeah, but it feels like all the politicians have become lazier because Trump is what they have to contend with.
How is Biden's admin lazy? This guy passed an insane amount of legislation compared to any prior administration. What's lazy about that?
Nothing. I don't have a problem with Biden's admin or his actions.
Do we think that Kamala is going to be lazy in office, or?
I don't know enough about realistically what she'd actually do. Maybe that's the problem.
Well, she's got an issues page on her website. I would definitely take a look at that because it like breaks down into detail what specific policy aspirations she has, and you can refer to it at any time. She wants to expand the child tax credit, reinstate it. It cut child poverty in half under President Biden. She wants to reduce the cost of rent and home ownership by building additional homes. I think it was like 3 million. She wants to preside over a program that would do that. She wants to expend Medicare so it would like cover at-home healthcare costs for the so-called like sandwich generation who are raising kids and looking after their ailing parents. These are just some things off the top of my head, but I would definitely encourage you to check that website out. But not to push you, but if you don't have like any other like specific questions, we've got like a gazillion other people in line. So is there anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Did I say, as Chas says, decrease cost, not increase? If I said increase, I apologize. All right. Hey, appreciate it, Thurk. Have a good one. All right. So let's go to Gabriel. Gabriel, you're up. Give it just a second. Gabriel, you're on. You're on the air. Do you want to defend Donald Trump and MAGA?
No, not specifically. I think he's a malignant narcissist and a danger to our country. But I would like to steelman an argument for the other side, which is I think that you have to make the case that there is a high probability that if we do elect him, that he will compromise our government and our constitution. And I guess my only question, I'm just going to reduce it down to a single question. What do Destiny and Pisco, what do you guys think the probability is, like in a Bayesian rationality background? What do you think the probability is that he compromises our government if he's elected?
No.
Yeah.
Josiah is forbade from answering this question, and I am not answering this question. It is a ridiculous presumption that we're going to say, okay, yeah, Donald Trump will try to be an authoritarian dictator, but I don't think the system will let him. That argument is devoid of substance. I can't even believe that people would ever say that. You would never, ever in any other circumstance use this excuse for a person operating in any environment. It's a ridiculously stupid question. We're not answering it. Dumb. Go to the next talking point.
Sorry, Stephen, I was muted there. I was talking to Paulo. Hang on one second.
All right, who's next? Speakers.
All right, sorry about that. So, sorry, my girlfriend was in here. She was about to leave. What'd you tell Gabriel? Like that we reject the premise? Because that's what I was going to say. Like,
yeah, you're not starting with like, okay, like it's just so stupid. Like imagine your little sister is going to go out on a date with a guy, and you know the guy is a rapist 100%. Do you just give your sister a knife?
Right.
Like it's such an unbelievably insane question that the fact if you are entertaining that as a serious question, you've already been brain rotted a little bit. Like it's going to take you years to recover from the abscess in your mind, okay, that's filling with Trump ooze. If that's where you're like, well, maybe he does want to be an authoritarian dictator, but like I think the government will stop him, so I'm going to vote for that guy. Like that's insane.
I hate Donald Trump, just so you know.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of funny. That's your defense, Destiny.
Well, Gabriel,
I'm just trying to ask, what's the probability? Like,
Gabriel, wait a minute. If you had to put out, hey, buddy, hey, whoa.
Okay.
Listen, just hang on. Here's the thing: the reason that I think it's a ridiculous premise is, wouldn't it just be rewarding him for, like, again, this is what I said to the previous.
The probability is 100%. Josiah's right. You're already rewarding this behavior. So just him winning the election is already infinitely damaging because you've sent the message that it's okay to be a criminal. It's okay to pardon all your friends, all your cronies from crimes. It's okay to tell lies to everybody. It's okay to spread misinformation. It's okay to be an unhinged lunatic. It's okay to be an egomaniac narcissist. It's okay to be the most nepotistic president in the history of all of our fucking presidents. Probably. So him being elected already does like, I wouldn't say irreparable, but already does a great deal of harm to the office and to the country.
Yeah, denying him the office serves two functions. You want to prevent the greater than 0% chance that he does some or all the shit that he wants to do. And number two, denying him the office functions as a deterrent, not just to Trump, but also to people like Trump, to say, hey, listen, you will suffer relentless electoral consequences if you're an authoritarian who tries to overturn an election. Like, surely you would agree that that in and of itself has value.
No, of course it has value. I just think it's funny that Destiny thinks he can put a 100% probability on something. Like, can you predict the future, Destiny? Nobody can. Like, I would like you to put your name on a probability of that Trump, if elected, would subvert our government. Like, if you had to
subvert our government, 98%. Wait a minute. If that's the standard, basically Donald Trump around with our government in such a way as to undermine it, 99.9999999 repeating.
I mean, like, the very simple.
He tried, but he failed.
No, he didn't. What do you mean he failed? He successfully obstructed almost
still
every
have our
single part of.
democracy, don't we?
He successfully obstructed almost every part of Mueller's probe. He got an entirely from whole cloth, new fabricated criminal immunity concocted for the presidency, just for him. Okay, he nominated. Were all three Supreme Court picks from Trump? It was three, right? Yeah, all three Supreme Court justices, maybe a fourth if he gets elected again. What do you mean he failed?
Yeah, so
we still have our democracy, don't we?
Wait a minute, that's not what you said. Wait a minute,
he's not a dictator. He doesn't control our country.
Wait a minute.
So
that's not
what is your evidence? What is your evidence?
Wait, Donald Trump doesn't control our country. Why don't we have? Why didn't we get that immigration bill again?
Bro, I'm not going to get into the weeds with you. I just know that I think the burden of proof is on you guys to make an assessment that it's such a realistic danger that he's going to take over our country. That the burden of proof is on you. That's
what is a realistic danger to you?
Maybe over 50%.
Okay.
Like I'd like to see you put your name on a probability.
Have you ever played Russian roulette?
No.
Would you ever play Russian roulette?
Why?
It's less than 50% chance that you'll blow your brains out.
It's kind of a straw man.
No, it's not. It's not straw man at all. My point is this: it doesn't have to be a 50% or greater percent chance for something to be very serious. And if you disagree, I'm not even.
Also, the chances are basically it's 100%. I mean, like, I can give you one example where I would say I would be shocked if I was wrong on this. So I would be comfortable saying like 98, 99%. If Donald Trump is elected, the Jack Smith case against him is instantly dead. He will do everything he can to destroy that case immediately.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you put an exact probability that Donald Trump will subvert our country?
I just said it, 95%. He will try to kill that case against him. Yeah, he will try to kill that case against him as soon as he's in office.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, that's all I was asking for. So
well, let's be very clear too. If we're talking about the federal cases, all he has to do, I think Stephen's being generous for giving you 95%. It's 99.9 repeating because all he has to do is just give the order to his attorney general to fire the special counsel, and that's it. It's done. It's over. It's purely within the discretion of the executive to give such an order. It's precisely what he will do. And that is a function of subverting our democracy. Now, running for an unconstitutional third term, declaring martial law and all that shit, then the percentages drop significantly. But the fact that any of these things are greater than zero is too high to tolerate. And even if none of it was zero, rewarding him for his bad behavior in his first term, that's an absolute subversion of our government as well. So,
and I would just say that literally him killing the investigations, the cases against him, that would be a subversion in and of itself. And the chance of that happening, as I said, that's like 98, 99%.
Yeah. So, anything else, buddy? Sorry to cut you off because
I concede. Good enough. Thanks for the answer.
Hey, appreciate it, buddy. Have a good one.
Hello.
Hey, you want to defend Donald Trump and MAGA?
Wow, I'm sorry, I just wasn't expecting that. I heard, and of course now my wife is calling.
Hang up on her. Marriage lasts forever.
I actually, to be completely honest, I would like to hear you defend Kamala. You were saying something about her being qualified, but I don't really know too many of her achievements.
Okay. First of all, who are we talking about?
Tiller.
Anything? Can you hear me?
Oh, no. Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry, wait. Who are we talking about? Which person did you want us to defend?
Kamala. You said you're voting for Kamala, right?
I don't know who's running. I don't know who that is.
Hello?
Hello?
My wife is continuously calling me. Kamala, are you voting for Kamala? Yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
Kamala Harris?
I don't know
It's
who that
Kamala.
is.
He's busting your balls because
Kamala. Okay, Kamala.
her name.
Just as a heads up, Josiah,
Clearly-
it's intentional, okay? Because they're racist, fucking
I
losers.
get
To be
it, I
clear,
get
it's
it.
intentional. They're not just doing that like by accident, okay? Don't ever take the bait from these
No, of
subhuman
course not.
fucking retards.
No,
okay?
no. I am not intentionally. I hear it said both ways, and I wasn't really sure which one. Kamala, correct?
That's right.
Like chameleon? Okay, cool. Thanks. Now that we're past the elementary shit, what do you what
I don't
has
think
she
we're past
done,
it yet.
or what do you think that she's going to do that one she can't just do right now, and two, like what are her achievements?
Let's start with that. That's a great question.
Well, no, actually, let's start with what has she already achieved? Because you said something she's more qualified than Vance, Trump, Biden. What has she actually achieved first? And then we'll get into the whole she could do it right now thing. Because I get what you're saying. She's only a vice president. She doesn't have the power, but she has been put in charge of the border. Biden admits this.
Well,
First of all, that's not true. But also, she was the district attorney in San Francisco. She was the attorney
Having
general.
a job is not an achievement. I currently am a landscaper. I just started the job yesterday, and all I've done is spread fertilizer. Would you call me a professional?
I think you're spreading.
Do you get paid
fertilizer
for
in this
it?
Conversation, sir.
I get paid to
Then you are a
spread
professional.
fertilizer
Yes.
in this season.
Well, hold on. So I'm sorry. Then what exactly are you looking for in regards to her performances in these jobs?
Well, I mean, you can have a job and you can sit at a desk and eat crayons all day and get paid. You're not going to keep that job very
Enough
long.
about your CV. What about Kamala Harris?
Well, I'm asking you, what has she achieved? She's had a job, but has she done anything with it?
I mean, she got reelected when she was attorney general in California. I know that she did a lot in trying to combat crime. I don't remember if this is a DA or.
And FYI, and just hang on while Steven's answering. I would invite you to be very careful about the standard you impose, because what's going to happen at the end of the sentence is I'm going to flip it on you and ask for Trump's achievements as well. And then when you reference his jobs, I'm going to ask you for specific things he did, not just his administration did, but proof that Donald Trump, with his own fat, tiny orange hands, did something. Okay. So be very careful about the standard that you want to impose on the Democrats, because we're not doing this double standard bullshit. Sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
Yeah, I think when she was DA, she tried to use the office a lot to fight against things like truancy. I remember that was a big thing that came up with my debate against Hassan. I know that, and you'll love this, she tried to push for like getting illegal immigrants that had committed felonies to be deported from the United States. That was a thing that she was a big fan of. So she tried to come down hard on.
Can you link me that? Because that'll be interesting.
You can Google it if you want. Honest to God, I don't think me linking you is going to change your mind on anything. It's pretty easy to find. And then as Attorney General,
have a huge misconception of me. You assume that I am voting for Trump and a staunch MAGA, and that's your big mistake.
Are you on the fence?
I am actually one of the few. I get really, really frustrated how many times I have to defend Trump. It's extremely fucking taxing.
Okay, I'm sure it is. Okay, yeah,
it hurts you so much. You can choose just not to do it.
So as attorney general in California, she did lawsuits against. She did a lot of consumer.
I'm a believer in the truth, though. So if someone says something that's not true, then I'm gonna just tell them that they're incorrect.
It's pretty well accepted that she had a successful run as the AG of California and as the DA in San Francisco. How much more specific do you want me to be on that?
Okay. It's well accepted, but there's people that would debate that she didn't do a good job or that she did things that are in fact poor.
Who? Name one of them, or one of those. Name one of those people, or one of those things.
Trump thinks that she did a bad job at DA. One person, and one thing that I don't think.
What are Trump's qualifications?
No. Wait. What did Donald Trump say she did bad?
One thing that a lot of Trump supporters that don't like that she did was something. The details are a little vague because faded. Pardon me, tripping over my own tongue. Because it's been a while since I read up on specifically what happened, but more or less, she kept people in prison longer than their sentence to force them to do labor. I'm not exactly sure what they were doing, whether they were building roads or picking up trash or whatever. They were kept beyond their sentence against their will. And that's
hold on, wait.
honestly
Let's just wait. Just
the
the first.
Democrats aren't like really behind.
Sure. Let's just do a quick sanity check, real quick, before I Google this. Okay. Does the Attorney General have the power to keep people in prison beyond their sentence?
Well, you told me she had like 2 or 3 different jobs. I didn't keep track of everything you ran at me.
Who determines sentences in prison?
I believe she used
it?
some sort of legislation that Biden put in place, I believe, if I have the story correct, to I'm not exactly sure how it
just
all
to be
went.
clear,
Like I said,
when Biden was president,
left.
I don't believe that Kamala Harris.
He was in the Senate. He was in the Senate. So you think there's more than one like branch of the government. You're
Taylor,
talking about
Wait. When you say the
you-
government, you realize that you're talking about the federal government, and that the Attorney General of California is not part of the federal government, and that members of Congress
it's not,
cannot
but what
solo
the
pass
federal
legislation.
government does
Yeah.
is they pass legislation. Congress writes it up, Senate looks at it, President gives it a check mark. We got the whole Bill of Rights thing. It's a whole school of house thing.
Yep.
I might get some
It's
details
School of Rock.
wrong.
It's School of Rock.
Yeah.
So
And the Bill of
School of
Rights is above the Congress, but that's okay.
Did I say School of Rights? Interesting.
you said
Freudian.
school. No, you said School of House. That you can't even remember what you fucked up. That's how bad you're fucking up. So, setting your undeserved hubris aside, so it's judges.
Undeserving hubris. I really don't think you'd get me at all.
Breathe. It's okay. So it's judges, not attorneys general, who decide prison sentences. Okay, number one. Number two, if Donald Trump thought that Kamala Harris was so goddamn bad at her job, why would he donate to her?
For re-election.
Donald Trump donated to Kamala Harris for re-election.
Yeah.
Well, I can think of one, just assuming that's true. And I'm not saying that you're a liar. But I mean, I would donate to somebody if I were well, yeah, because I want to donate to her. I want her to get, the Democrats to elect her. And that's who I want to run against. I want to run against the dumbest person possible. So that's who I would donate.
Wait. When did Trump, hold on. Did he,
Yeah,
did
sorry.
Donald Trump, no, you were right. Did he run for Attorney General in California? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you said Attorney General. Okay. I thought you were talking in this election. So what year was this? Because Trump used to be a Democrat. This is pretty well known.
Right. So it was 2011, I believe.
That sounds about when Trump was still a Democrat.
Right, but why would Trump donate to her if he thought she was bad at her job?
Well, the series of events could have very easily been that he donates to her, she gets into office, and then he realizes, wow, she's been f***ing all this up for this whole time.
She was already in office.
He donated in 2011 and again in
Right,
2013.
but that doesn't mean that he was aware that I didn't know she was f***ing shit up in California until 2020.
So you think in 2011 and in 2013, when Trump donated a total of $6,000, and when his daughter Ivanka also gave $2,000 in 2014, he had no idea about her record? He just gave her money randomly, or?
I mean, I'm not going to validate the actions of Trump, because I'll say again, I'm not a Trump guy, and I've only recently.
No. We're not saying you're a Trump guy. We're not saying you're a Trump guy. We're not asking you to defend Trump. I'm just saying, doesn't it seem like Trump attacking her credibility is probably more a political move than him actually thinking he had a problem with what she did for work? It seems like if you go by his donation record, he actually probably approved of the job she was doing, right?
You could speculate on whether or not it's a political move, but I would also agree that she is not great at her job.
Okay, well then, what's your evidence?
What metric?
She's not great at her job.
I mean, the border is one great one. She was put in charge of the border and has done nothing but make it.
And what constitutional authority does the vice president have over the border anyway?
Anything that the president gives to that person. If the president, and he has on camera admitted that anything that happened during his presidency, she is just as responsible for. It's lately, it's almost like Biden is out there campaigning for Trump. It's almost hilarious and surprising that you, Destiny, have missed it.
So, Taylor, a couple of things. It's the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security who, besides the president himself, is in charge of the border. President Biden gave Kamala Harris responsibility for diplomatic missions to Latin America countries to address root causes of migration to the southern border. She was not in charge of border security. She was not in charge of, defending the border. She had a diplomatic issue that was much more long term. And there was no evidence that it was unsuccessful. As a matter of fact, we received greater cooperation from Latin America countries as a consequence, in part, of the vice president's diplomatic overtures. Number one.
Okay, keep going.
So number two, as a senior advisor to President Biden, yes, she contributed, as an advisor does, and also in her capacity as tie-breaking votes in the Senate, to the Biden-Harris agenda. But the Biden-Harris administration has been wildly successful legislatively and executively, which makes me go back to, again, the question, how is she bad at her job?
Well, also wait, before the bad at her job, just to put a thing on this, unless you've got something different that I would like to see about her being assigned to the border, right? So this is a 2021 article, all right, from AP News, and it says Harris is tasked with overseeing diplomatic efforts to deal with issues spurring migration in the Northern Triangle countries of El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, as well as pressing them to strengthen enforcement on their own borders, administration officials said. So it doesn't sound like she was in charge of the border, running around and keeping immigrants coming in, but rather foreign diplomatic efforts. And also, I would have to look at this separately. My understanding is that those countries did actually start to open up immigration processing centers to process immigrants that were, I believe, functional.
They did. So that's what I said. Yeah. So she was in charge of diplomatic shit for root causes, and we received greater cooperation as a consequence of her actions. So, but again, now we'll go back.
I gotta interject here. If we're seeing better cooperation with Southern and Central American countries, do I have you right? Have I misquoted anybody yet?
Sure, yep, go ahead.
Then why is it that we are getting more migrants into our country, and why are they not being sent back? Something got taken out of place between Trump leaving office, but somewhere between November 5th and January something.
So to be clear, something didn't. It spiked in Trump's last year. It was spiking. Okay. The issue is when people come to the United States and they claim asylum, they claim refugee status, they claim asylum once they've already gotten here or even at a port of entry.
And we have admitted that we have stated that we do not take people for financial asylum.
Correct. We don't. Yes, that's correct. However,
so why is there so many of them here?
Because that determination can only be made in court. And right now there's a huge backlog on the system. That's why when Democrats were trying to pass legislation that was authored by a Republican from the Senate, Lankford, when they tried to pass a bill, it would have provided a lot more funding and a lot more space for those asylum claims to be processed so that we get on the here if they're not here for good reason.
Okay, then why are they out of here? You're not really even leading me to the water yet.
Hold on. Okay, then listen very carefully to what I just said. Immigrants come to the border and they say, hey, I'm claiming asylum. And then the guy at the border says, why are you claiming asylum? They're like, oh, because I'm being persecuted. It's like, okay, well, we can't process you right now. And it's illegal for us to just ship you over the border if you're claiming asylum. You're running from rapists or whatever. So we're going to give you a slip. You're going to have to show up in court.
Why is it illegal for them to just say, no, you can't come in?
Because that's what the laws on the book dictate right now. Is if you're already here, if you make it into a port of entry.
Was that the case in 2019, 2018?
The difference is that in 2020 is that when COVID started to happen, Donald Trump was able to use an emergency measure to deny people at the border using Title 42. That was a big thing that Trump was able to utilize. But even in Trump's last year, you can look at the chart that he posts, that immigration number was starting to spike like crazy. But the problem is the laws in the book right now say that if somebody comes here and they claim asylum, they have to be processed.
Around November 5th, if I read the chart correctly, is when because I'm sure you've seen over and over again, nearly wetting your pants with excitement watching Trump get shot. That you remember when he was talking about the chart, that very chart that he has?
Yeah, that chart, by the way, that's mislabeled. Yeah, where he incorrectly identifies when he actually left office. But
incorrectly. Yeah, sure. And I didn't even fact check it because I seen it on CNN. No, dude, bro, stop. Because you sound retarded every time you revert back to that. Okay,
I'm the one.
I am not. I am not a liking Trump person. I am not a liking Trump person, but it really gets taxing to continue to defend him. So if you want
You're
to do so
defending
honestly,
him on
I'll
the
continue.
dumbest shit. Let's get to that. So right now you're quibbling about Kamala Harris. We're in the rabbit hole about Title 42 at this point. You've already been
yeah.
fact checked on what Kamala Harris did. She was not in charge of border security. She was in charge of diplomatic missions.
Then why does Biden continue to come out and say that she is?
Where has he
I
said
mean,
that?
the
Wait,
vice
what has he said
president
about
has
that?
to have something to do.
Where has he said
has
that?
Joe Biden said that she is in charge of border security?
Some point in the last 3 months when he decided to start
in the
talking to
last
people
3
again.
months, you sounded really stupid, and you still do today. I want a source.
Or like, was it a speech? Was it a, what can I Google to find this?
It was approximately, you remember when Biden put the guy's MAGA hat on? It was about 2 weeks after that. He was talking at it was before his whole, I forget who the Prime Minister of India thing was. It was around about then. I don't really remember exactly what news, one of the alphabet media sources. He was talking to a bunch of people and they were asking him questions. He said, yeah, Harris absolutely, was helping me with everything. I'm paraphrasing the guy.
So I appreciate
I've
your
seen
paraphrase.
that you were talking to MAGA, so I hopped in. I didn't bring my
That
dossier.
doesn't mean that Kamala Harris was in charge of border security. That means a second executive branch and a general senior advisor to the president. She advised him in most things domestic and foreign policy. Nobody disputes that. That is a far cry from saying that she had responsibility for border security. That is the president of the United States who delegates it to the secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. So move on to your next criticism because you don't know what the f you're talking about. How else is she
and actually, I will be honest. Comparative to the co-owner of my media company, this is actually more his forte. But unfortunately, you have our company Twitter blocked. It used to be under Four Bastards, but now it's under Tea Party Media. If you would like to unblock us, that would be wonderful.
What? How do you spell it?
Currently, the @ is TPM for Tea Party Media, LLC USA.
Gotcha. Unblocked.
Cool. Perfect.
So what are you prepared to talk about? Because here's where I'm confused. You come in here hostile as fuck, demanding
no, not
the
hostile as fuck.
most hyper-specific of sources. You are unable to meet your own standard. You're fact-checked relentlessly. What are you prepared to talk about?
To be honest with you, I really wanted to see if you could defend Kamala. And I mean, I'd have to look up what you said. Kamala.
Thank you.
Okay, I get it, but really it's just a matter of it's a real easy fix-up. It's not like, or mix-up. It's not like everybody who does it is doing it on purpose.
I'm so sorry, but if you're a world leader and you can't pronounce the name of your own president correctly, that is one of the most disqualifying things I could think of in my entire life. And if you're going to tell me that the guy who says Barack Hussein Obama over and over again is accidentally mispronouncing her name, you're delusional or just a sucker. And again, it's disqualifying as president.
I know that he deliberately will mispronounce or give people nicknames to insult them. But I do not think that every MAGA does it deliberately every single time they mispronounce Kamala, because I find myself having to force myself to pronounce a word.
I would like you to find yourself having to make a point. Can we please get the pronunciation? Okay. Steven's already fact-checked you on this.
Well, I mean, you wanted to make a point out of it, and my wife's calling, so I'll let you go. Goodbye.
Jesus Christ.